Okay. So we were just recording for like half an hour to absolutely nobody. And I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little fucking frustrated. Oh Lord. Welcome to the Two Tone Podcast. My name is Jaylen Kale. Alongside me we got
Yo, Kale.
how are you doing, kid?
I'm doing good.
Okay. I've been better. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. I have been better. But if you're wondering why TT's camera looks a little fucked up, is because I'm not gonna lie. I broke the camera last time we were trying to set up. I had it sitting somewhere it wasn't supposed to be, and it fell like 3 feet right onto the face of it. And we gotta make do with what we got. But um, but yeah, right off the top, I'm gonna tell y'all I got a new EP out. It's called UNFUCKSWITABLE on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Google, um, YouTube. I don't know if I said that one already, but Anti Ways. It's out. Go check it out. Go subscribe or follow me on Spotify. That's the one I honestly care about. I don't care about the other. I'm not gonna lie. But all of y'all faithful Apple Music listeners, I appreciate y'all. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Two Tone Podcast. As I said previously, my name is Jaylen Kell. Alongside me, Theo Kell, aka Lil TT.
Sorry guys if it sounds like we're gonna be speeding through this, but we've been sitting here for half an hour recording to nobody. So
Yeah. That was. I'm not even gonna lie. That was. I looked at the record and it wasn't recording, and I almost just went home. We almost didn't have a Two Tone Podcast this week. Um, but I digress. Let's get into what we have been working on recently. So, as I said, unfuckswittable because your boy is. Um, Recently dropped on Spotify, Apple Music, all that wonderfulness. Go check it out. Go subscribe. It's just like a little collection of beats that I've been working on for the past 2 months, 2 months, 3 months. But yeah, I didn't really want to sing on this one. I have sang previously on a couple of the EPs that I've done, but this one is just a couple of beats. Kind of more video game, movie, score kind of music. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But with talking about stuff that we've been working on, before we started the podcast, me and TT were working a little bit on the the script for Channel 6. So, tell me a little bit about what you're going on with Channel 6 so far with the script.
um, so I changed some things. I've added some things. I don't really want to get into detail with all that because that's just me giving out the film. And
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm about to say you're pretty much about like 75, 80% done with the script so far, just kind of punching up what's already there, trying to figure out exactly how the protagonist and antagonist are gonna meet and how they're gonna,
yeah,
resolve and all that wonderful movie jargon and whatnot. But I will respect that you don't want to talk too much about what you got changed so far. But if you haven't seen a script rolling on the left side of your frame there, um, yep.
Right
Thank you,
there.
T. If you haven't seen that, if you or anyone is interested in acting in a short slash movie, contact the O'Kale at or on Instagram at Glasshouse Films 8. GLASSHOUSEFILMS, the number 8
Yep.
on YouTube or on YouTube and on Instagram. But
Yep.
um, if you want, you ain't even really got to be good. We're just trying to find people that are willing to do it.
Yep.
If you're willing to act, we're
For
willing to.
free. For well, right now for free, but in the future for money.
In the
That's
future,
okay too.
in the future, possibly for money. But at the moment, if you are willing to act for the free 99, go hit him up.
We'll have. I'll try and get catering. Well,
Have little snacks and shit for you
yeah.
if it's that long, honestly. But
Um. But yeah, if you just want to do it for the experience,
for the
definitely hit
love
me
of
up.
the art,
Definitely hit me up.
excuse me. I'm sorry if this episode seems like kind of sloppy, but as we said twice already, bruh, it's really on me. I'm not even gonna lie, dog. Um, but that being said, getting into the album of the week, right there, y'all see it. JAK, that's me. If y'all didn't know, I make music. J period A period K on Spotify, Apple Music, all that wonderfulness. Really, wherever you find your music, I'll be there. But yeah, Unfuckswitable is an album of, or not even an album, it's an EP. It's 6 songs long, and it's just a lot of beats that I've made in the past couple months. As I said, just um, more movie score kind of video game type beats, just chill, relax kind of stuff. Have you a couple drinks, smoke you a little bit of that, and chill out, relax. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, all that wonderfulness. I appreciate all that you do. Speaking of subscribing and following, if you have not subscribed to the Two Tone Podcast, I'll find you. I will hunt you down, and I will politely ask you to subscribe to the Two Tone Podcast. That's all I got to say. But subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, all that wonderfulness. We appreciate everybody that's rocking with us. We're rocking with you. But yeah, TT,
Yeah. What's up?
tell the people what's the film of the week.
The film of the week is Singing in the Rain.
Bum bum bum. Singing in the Rain, bro. It's such a good pick. It's such a good pick. We've been talking about musicals this past couple weeks. TT's had his mind on writing a musical. So I figured it was about time that TT picked a musical. Not that I have any influence on what he picks, but I figured it would be soon that he'd pick a musical for us to talk about. But Singing in the Rain, it is
Top 3 musicals of my choice.
such a good pick. Such a fire pick, dog. Singing in the Rain is it's one of those musicals that has a really special place in my heart, dog. It's one of those ones that I saw when I was really, really little, and just kind of like watched and watched and watched and watched, along with like Hairspray and Grease and those kind of like late '90s, early 2000s movies.
Grease is another banger. So is Hairspray.
Uh, Potentially top 3 right there, but
Maybe for you, not for me. But
I don't know. I haven't really seen too many musicals like in the theater, so I haven't like seen like Rent or Cats or anything like that, honestly. But out of the movies, top 3 bangers, possibly. I don't even know. I'd have to sit down and really honestly think about it. But Singing in the Rain, from the music to the acting to the fucking to the context of what the show is about, like it is such a good musical. Like it's if you haven't seen it, Singing in the Rain is pretty much about the transition of the transition of film from like silent movies into talking pictures at the time, what they called it, and it's it's very good. And I forget. I just looked up who
Gene
was in
Kelly.
Gene Kelly. Thank you. I was gonna say Gene Simmons, but it is not Gene Simmons, as TT has told me. Uh, Gene Kelly and
I forget the other guy's name.
something McDonald or old McDonald. I forget what his name
Yeah,
is.
something
But
like that.
anyways, oh, here it is. It's already pulled up on my phone. Um, Donald O'Connor. He
Not even
plays
close.
Cosmo Brown. Cosmo Brown is one of those characters that had a very heavy influence on my like early comedic mind,
Yeah,
and he's a very physical comedian. Because I feel like a lot of talking pictures, if you were a comedian, you had to rely heavy on physical comedy,
definitely.
and it's one of those styles of comedy that's kind of like went by the wayside. I feel like, and a lot of comedians don't do very physical stuff. Like the last person that I can remember that did a lot of physical stuff was Jim Carrey. He did a lot of like really. He'd come up on the set and be like, "What's up?" Or a good example of like a modern day one is Chris D'Elia. Have you ever seen much of Chris D'Elia?
No.
So like he's like a skinnier guy. He's real tall. I wouldn't say real tall, but like you know about my height. Um, he's got he's got black hair. It's usually like slick back or something like that. And he does like a lot of like what's the deal with that? Just kind of like
Yeah.
odd like physical kind of stuff, almost like in the vein of Jim Carrey. But
In my opinion, I feel like physical comedy is better than non-physical comedy.
I can understand what you're saying. I feel like a lot of comedians nowadays haven't really Im- implanted a lot of physical comedians like bits I wouldn't want to say bits and stuff because that implies that they're like stealing bits from other people, but a lot of comedians these days aren't very physical with their acts, which I find interesting. How it's kind of like it was very popular like in the 90s and early 2000s, and then it kind of went away.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Have you ever seen any like Carrot Top's comedy? You know who
Maybe.
Carrot Top is?
I don't know by the name, but maybe by the face.
You might be a little young for Carrot Top. He's got red hair, like real like poofy red hair.
Let me see a picture of what he looks
I'm
like.
about to say
Good.
you can look him up, but he was a prop comic from like the 90s, and he's kind of like owned the business of like prop comedy and stuff. But he's very funny, very very funny. He's got like a residency in Las Vegas, I think.
Um, I definitely have seen him in movies, but I've never like watched a comic or comedy show from him.
He's very funny. I'm about to say he's very much worth the watch. If you haven't seen Carrot Top, go check him out. Um, but he was very popular in like the early 2000s into the 2010s, and as I said, he has a residency in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure, but he's like owned the prop comedy. Like he'll bring it like a pool noodle and like flossing in between his butt crack
Yeah.
type shit. And this is what it feels like to floss my teeth. And then just that's not like a Carrot Top bit, but it seems like it would be. He's very funny. Check him out if you haven't.
What's
Um,
the quote of the week?
Thank you for reminding me, TT. I would have forgot
Again.
again because we were podcasting for 35 minutes to nobody. I'm sorry for y'all that are listening in headphones, but oh, bro, that ish really ticked me off. I'm not even gonna lie, dog. I had to take 10 minutes before we started again. Um, the quote of the week. Maybe I need to listen to the quote of the week, okay? Because not everything's perfect. Not all the podcasts in the world run by two 20-year-old Uh, it's just the best. But the quote of the week, nonetheless. Comparison is the thief of joy. And now this is the part where originally I asked TT who it was by, and then we had a little, quip, little banter. But as TT knows, this quote is by Theodore Roosevelt, the president of this great nation at one point in time. He had to say, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And now this is one of the quotes that I've seen pop up a lot in the entertainment industry and a lot of podcasts that I listen to. Um, I listen to a lot of comedic podcasts, a lot of Krista Stefano and Sal Valcano from the Impractical Jokers. They have a podcast together, and a lot of times they'll bring up this quote, and it really speaks to me. Comparison is the thief of joy. Now, if you are a beginner in any venture, really, you kind of start, all the way. Where can you all see? Okay, all the way right there, and everybody above you is like all the way. I can't even reach, but like all the way up here, and you look at everybody above you, even if they're like right here, you look up and you're like, there's no way I can ever do what they're doing. Even if they're not even making a living off what they're doing, you're like, there's no way that I could even pull half of the views they're pulling. I struggle to pull 22 views on a podcast. If if y'all know somebody that likes podcasts, recommend it. But um just saying. But if you end up comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing, you ain't never gonna get anywhere with what you're doing. So not only in the terms of success is this quote spoken to me, but also within the confines of what exactly your content is about. So if you're comparing yourself to like other people's content as opposed to taking influence from their content, how you like Tim Burton, like,
Yeah.
and if you start comparing yourself to Tim Burton, you're gonna be like, I ain't never gonna make it. Tim Burton's already got the market, dog. And instead of like making your stuff, Tim Burton's gonna make his stuff for regardless of what I do. So I might as well make my stuff, work my way up in the industry. It's one of those quotes that I like,
You
I've
also
heard
got
it.
to think about, like, at some point, those people aren't going to be around to make that stuff anymore.
Very, very true.
So
Very,
then
very
once
true.
they aren't around anymore, guess where that niche audience is going to be? They're still going to be there. They're still going to want to watch something that's
They're gonna be on
speaks to them.
Glasshouse Films 8, YouTube.
Yep.
And Instagram if you like to act,
Mhm.
Maybe one day
Maybe.
TT can be the new Tim Burton. But TT gonna be the new TT.
Yep.
That's what I always say. Whenever somebody's like, who would you say your music is like? I'm like, it's like me. I don't make music for anybody. I make it for myself. If you like it, fantastic. Thank you. I love you so much. But if you don't like it, that's cool too. I ain't gonna be too pressed if you don't like it. I don't like some of my own stuff, Some of my stuff is just because I wanted the album to be 12 songs instead of 11 songs, Like I'll just put in a random song in there. But if you don't like it, that's cool with me too, dog. I don't care.
I mean,
I'm gonna keep doing what I do.
I kind of understand where, like, the new artists are coming from, though, because, like, we got this grand thing right here that we use every day, and we see, oh, so and so came out with a new album, so and so came out with a new film, and then you're like, I want to be like them, and then they think it's just a quick, and that they'll be there instead of working.
That's one thing about phones that really annoys the fucking life out of me, like the prevalence of social media and shit like that. Like, I understand that social media is always gonna be a thing and it's always gonna be popular and shit, but it's one of those things that people oftentimes compare themselves to other people in like what I was talking about with the quote of the day. Like people compare themselves to how other people's like Instagram is going. Like Cindy got 17,000 likes on this picture, and I'm only getting 400. But like you aren't even thankful for those 400 people that liked your shit.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that the human mind can quickly fall into the trap of.
I kind of wish that I went longer without a phone.
Honestly, like I honestly thought it was like the worst thing in the world that my mom made me wait till I could pay for my own phone to have it. But like if I had waited longer, I feel like there would have been so much more like organic connection within like my friend group and within the people that I met and the people that I talked to. I would have been forced to like actually go out and experience the world as it is instead of like on my phone talking to some chick that lives 2 counties away.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have to wait as long as you, but
Right, and I
I
understand
still
that.
had to wait a little bit.
Yeah, I'm about to say I understand that. Like people, like you wanting to know where your kids are and make sure that they're taken care of and shit. But like back in the day, like I'm talking like I'm an old head dog. Like back in the day, we would go out.
Back in
Oh,
my day.
oh God, back in my day, we would go out without a cell phone, and my mom would trust that I'd be home at 7:30. But no, but it's definitely one of those things that like with the changing of times, it's very hard to have a cell phone and also be responsible with like the time that you're using on it because
I also feel like it it could help with creativity though. Like not having a cell phone. Like
yeah
you could be more
I
imaginative into what
speaking on that I ran into
you're
this
doing
kid
stuff.
at an open mic and he was like I want to say like 18, 19 years old and he went up at the open mic and I was like, this dude is really fucking good, dog. Like, where's your music at? And he was like, oh, it's on Spotify, da 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 da. And so I checked him out and I was like, hey, if you want to ever collab, like, hit me up, text me or whatever. And he was like, oh, I don't have a phone. And I was like, you're 19 years old and you don't have a cell phone, dog? What are you like? Good
Yeah.
for you, dog. Like, hell yeah, you ain't got a cell phone, dog.
Like I feel like the Amish people, they would be like the next fucking Steven Spielberg in like
All right.
seconds.
If we ever get into a world war, dog, the Amish people are gonna repopulate this earth.
So true.
But yeah, that shit is crazy as fuck. Like I ran into him and I was like, dog, trying to exchange phone numbers or whatever, and he was like, oh, I don't have a phone, and I was like, how do I get in contact with you? And he was like, I have a home phone. But
I have
like
a home phone.
all my brothers use the home phone, so it might not be me when I pick up. Just be like, I want to talk to Joe or whatever his name was, I forget. But
Back
it
in the
was
day when people would call and you'd be like, hello, and they'd be like, got to talk to Jaylen, and you'd be like, Jaylen.
yeah yeah. Oh God, bro, I can't tell you the last time I had to use a home phone. Probably like before 2010, but when we moved here, like
No, we still had a phone.
did we have a house phone when
Yeah.
we first moved in here? I can't
It
remember.
was probably like 2011, 12 when we stopped using it.
I can't remember, but the house phone is kind of like gone. Oh, what? Like nobody that I know has a house phone
Because what are they going to use it for?
except for this one kid that I met at an open mic like a year ago. He was like, "Yeah, just call my house phone, ask for me," and I was like, What? Your little brother got to answer the phone just to talk to? That's incredible. Like it literally blew my fucking mind that this teenager didn't have a cell phone. But
Props to all the people that live like that.
if
Amish
you ain't got
people,
a cell phone, dog,
props to you.
y'all doing it right. Y'all, if y'all are listening to this podcast on a cell phone, keep listening because we need the viewers and we need the subscribers. But
Yeah,
after
I
you're
mean-
done with this podcast, just lock your phone in the closet and wait for the Two Tone Podcast notification to come up. Watch the Two Tone Podcast and then lock it back in the closet because you don't really need that shit, dog. But like the amount of distraction that a phone can give you,
Especially
is-
with like TikTok nowadays.
oh, bro, don't even get me started on TikTok. I'm not gonna say I made them, but like I pressured Sam into fucking deleting TikTok because they would just sit on there while we're watching the show, just scrolling.
Yeah.
And it's like the same song 4 times in a row, and I'm like, dog, can you fucking turn that down so I can watch the show that we fucking set the time aside to watch?
You want to give them the what the ideal was earlier today when you came in? We
Huh.
were setting up about Theo's talks.
I was saying we should have a segment in the show where we do TT's TikToks. Because this motherfucker will send me TikToks at like the most random hour of the day. It doesn't matter if it's 8 o'clock in the AM or 2 o'clock in the AM. This motherfucker sent me TikToks and I'm sitting there like, it's always the most fried shit. So I'm thinking about
Yeah,
adding a segment into the show called
it's funny
TT's
as hell.
Talks.
They're either really funny or they're speaking facts most of the time.
Bruh, I remember this one TikTok this man sent me, bruh, had me in my feels. It was like this TikTok, it was like when you're the youngest one in the house and everybody else has left, and like it was this kid walking into everybody's room, and I was sitting there like, uh, I'll move back in, TT, I swear to God. But if bro, this man will either send like it's anybody's guess. He'll either send me like the
Bro, that
most like
that
fried ass meme or just like some real like sentimental like hit you in the feels type shit.
that one that you were talking about, that I was like, this is definitely me right now.
Bro, that shit had me in the feels, bro. I was like, I will literally move back into home right now, bro. Don't send me this shit at 10:30 at night when I'm about to go to sleep, dog. This man be on fucking some other shit with the goddamn with the goddamn with the TikToks.
I kind of am like, I kind of want to pressure myself into like making my mom put on parental controls on my phone and shit because I'm tired of
dog.
just fucking
I'm not
scrolling
even
on
gonna lie.
TikTok for like 7 hours.
I'm not even gonna lie. That's one of the things that honestly, like, fucking, I thought was like the end of the world when I was younger. But honestly, it's one of those things that I respect my mom for. That like she put those time controls on the computer and shit. I feel like we talked about it a couple weeks ago on the
Yeah.
podcast, or maybe last week even. But like, we had time controls on the computer, so you could only be like, I could only be on the computer from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and then Arthur could be on the computer from 5 to 6, and then you could be on the computer from 6 to 7 type shit. And as a child, you like you'd be in the middle of a game, just fucking bullshitting on the computer, and then the time would run out and it'd lock you out. You ain't even saved nothing. You ain't even,
Yeah.
and then you just played the game for 3 hours for nothing.
But
But it's one of those
Yeah.
things that I really admire my mom for, seeing the wave of the internet and all that wonderful shit. Just seeing that the time waste that it can be, forcing us to play outside and,
creative.
having friends and being creative and making up games and
Even
you
though
know,
I wish we had that still, but
it definitely, I feel like a
Life.
lot of the way the world is nowadays is very much on the pandemic and like what happened and that shit. And that shit fucking sucks because like not only did the pandemic fucking happen and like everybody had to be inside for months on months, but like motherfuckers lost friends. Like I haven't talked to a couple friends that I've had in like months.
But yeah, I understand. But just like even before then, like when you and Arthur were both gone and I was home alone because like you guys either moved out or went out with friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was nobody. Like I just would go outside and sit on the concrete and like talk to the ants because I was so fucking bored out of my mind. Because like all the kids, they all had cell phones or they were playing Xbox or whatever, and I was just sitting outside.
Xbox and PlayStation are definitely like another one of those kind of like time waste things that my mom had fucking restrictions on all that shit like PlayStation, or we had Xbox when we were younger, but Xbox and the computer and
We had both.
hmm even if yeah, we did at one point, I forgot,
We had
but
an Xbox 360 and a PS2.
yeah, that was like we were like way late to that shit. That was already when the PS3 was like old.
Yeah.
And like but yeah, I fucking respect my mom for doing all that shit. Like even if we were on for an hour, like there was still 4 hours between dinner and going to sleep that we had to fucking interact with other people and do other shit.
That's kind of what I hate about today's society.
I'm about to
All
say,
these parents giving their kids cell phones at the age of 2 months. It's like,
yeah,
come
I
on
feel
now.
like we've talked about this before. That shit is,
Yeah.
I don't understand that shit. All right, so
All right, into the actual podcast now.
now that we are
Done with the rant.
now that we have recorded the podcast actually for 30 minutes instead of talking to each other just to the fucking air for 30 minutes, I'm still fucking pressed about it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so into the topics for this week. If y'all didn't know already, I don't know if I've told them this already, but I'm gonna tell you again. I got 2 shows coming up in the first and second weekends of June. The first Sunday of June, sorry, the first Sunday of June, I will be at the Little Flower Festival, um, from 1:30 to 2:30. I will be there playing music. Y'all come ride rides, have some food, eat some corn. It'll be great in time. And the next weekend on the 10th, I will be at the OLG festival. I will be playing from 5 until 7. Again, come out, ride some rides, have some food, sit down, listen to the music. Hit that tip jar if you want. I'm not saying you have to, but if you want to.
All right, off topic real quick. That shirt that you're wearing, the front of it with the eyes, it
Yes.
kind of reminds me of like a
Can y'all see?
Nosferatu, kind of like a black and white creepy film. It's kind of what it reminds me of.
I don't know what it's from, but it says mortem. Means
It's cool.
death in Italian or some shit. I don't know what the fuck it means, but it's cool. I love this shirt. I've had it forever. But if y'all want to come see me play June 4th or June 4th, I think it's the 4th. It's the first Sunday in June. I know that much. Little Flower Festival next weekend after that, June 10th, at the OLG Festival in Greenwood. I'll be playing from 5 to 7. Come check it out. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all y'all that come out. And into the topics that we had originally for the podcast. Okay. We already talked about this a little bit, but you wanted to talk about comedians. So, with regards to comedians, who would you say is your favorite comedian? Let's do favorite comedian currently.
Currently, definitely have to go with his name. Is it Bert Kreischer?
Bert Kreischer he's fucking hilarious, dog. I love Bert Kreischer.
The guy that takes off his shirt. And,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and also I forget his name. But there's a guy, he's about like I want to say either our age or like a little bit older than us or something. But he looks like he should be like a football player or something, but he's a comedian. I forget what his name is though.
I'm not too sure
He
who you're
wears like
talking about.
diamond earrings.
Is it Matt Rife?
I think so.
Is he a white guy?
Yeah, he's white.
He's like kind of skinnier, like almost kind of like built white guy.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
looks
like flowy hair.
he looks like he's supposed to be like a football player. I think that's his name. What'd you say his name was?
Matt Rife. I think that's who you're talking about. He's very popular on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all that wonderfulness. But he's kind of making his way up in the comedy world. He's kind of selling out
Yeah.
I'm about to say Matt Rife is he's kind of one of those newer comedians. He's kind of taken the scene by shock. Like he's been doing comedy for about a few years now, but he's definitely popping into the scene, making more like YouTube shorts and stuff like that, getting more notoriety on social medias and whatnot. But
What you think about him?
he's very funny. I fucking love him. He's hilarious. I think he's definitely kind of like leaning into the kind of like the pretty boy aesthetic,
Yeah.
kind of. But I have no problem with it. He's fucking hilarious. I've seen a few of his YouTube shorts. I don't really be on TikTok and Instagram and too much, but
I see him on TikTok all the time.
he's become very popular for a lot of his TikTok uh, videos and what you want to call them. But Matt Rife is super super funny. He's I'm interested to see how his career pans out. He's done a couple specials already on YouTube. I think he has two out on YouTube already. But Bert Kreischer also another really good pick. I love Bert Kreischer. He's got this he's got a movie coming out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's what The Machine.
Hmm.
I think me and Sam I actually bought tickets to go see The Machine uh at Tibbs Drive-In on Saturday afternoon. So, I'll let you know how it is. It looks fucking hilarious. And I love that he's showing it at a drive-in. That makes it so much more like more special, you know. Have you ever been to many drive-ins?
When I was little, yeah.
I'm about to say I remember we went to a drive-in like
I remember going to like a Halloween drive-in where they played like Halloween themed films and stuff.
okay, hell yeah. I remember there was this one time we went to a drive-in like in Arizona. We were visiting my aunt Sarah out in Arizona back when we were little, and I remember going to a drive-in and like we as the kids, you know, we I don't remember who it all was, but we like hid down in the back, like so we didn't have to we didn't have to pay to get in or whatever. So it was just like the two adults and like we were all like hunkered down under some blankets or some shit. But it was a good time. Either way, I forget exactly what we saw, but I remember like vaguely going to the drive-in in Arizona, and recently I wouldn't say recently, but like within the past 5 years, we went to see, or me and Sam went to see Mark Rebier at a Tibbs drive-in, which was very interesting because like he was there, so they just pretty much live streamed his camera feed to the big screens, and you know he turned into the radio station or whatever, and he did like a live show as a concert. But it was very interesting to see how it went all went down at a Tibbs drive-in. But um,
Some other great comedians.
some other great comedians, give them to me.
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams, bruh. Oh my god, Cat Williams. If you've never seen Cat Williams, dog, just get you a little bit of the married iguanas and just watch some Cat Williams, dog. If you haven't seen him, it's some of the best like stupid ass stoner comedy ever. Like I wouldn't even say stoner comedy because he's just like so high energy, and it's kind of like the opposite of stoner comedy, but like he smokes and shit, so like it's a lot of influence on weed and the weed culture and shit. But Cat Williams is honestly one of those comedians that I fucking love.
Robin Williams. R.I.P.
R.I.P. to the goat.
He was really good at film comedy.
He is a very good comedic actor as well. Not only have you seen much of his stand up,
No, I just really remember him from his films like Flubber and Mrs. Doubtfire and
you got to watch some of his stand up, bro.
that
It's so
stuff.
good. His earlier, I wouldn't even say earlier because he did it into his later life, but Robin Williams is one of those great stand up comedians that translated into movies and stuff. He's kind of like the original, like Adam Sandler and David Spade and Chris Rock and what's his nuts, Kevin James. He's like kind of the original one of those that was a big comedian and then kind of transitioned into movies in his later life. Well, not even really in his later life. He kind of did it in the middle, but he did stand up all the way through. But he's one of those very good comedians that a lot of comedians today have taken inspiration from and stuff.
Yeah. Um, Kevin Hart's also pretty good.
I love Kevin Hart. He's one of those comedians that he's like a household name at this point. He's been in a lot of movies. He's been in a lot of uh comedy specials that have aired in like movie theaters and stuff, as we talked about a few weeks ago.
I feel
Like,
like he's very good at bringing comedy out of other actors like The Rock and Ice
oh yeah,
Cube and all them.
definitely. Like he's one of those people that's very easily to riff back and forth with, like even if it's not in the script. Like he's one of those people that's very easy to get along with, I feel like.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a really good actor and a very very good comedian. One of my fucking favorite comedians of all time is Theo Vaughn.
I haven't watched any of his podcast stuff, but I've seen like little clips of his jokes and stuff.
I
They're pretty funny.
I fucking love Theo Vaughn. He's got this one joke that like everybody brings up, and it's like so he's a comedian. He's got like a kind of southern voice. He's from Louisiana, so he's like, my cousin got bit by a gay guy, so I guess we'll see.
I feel like I feel like he has like a little um skit that he does where he just says like random shit that makes no sense.
Oh yeah, he like a lot of comedians will like pick up on this thing that he does. They call it like theoisms, and it's just like saying random like, we had this one guy in our town, and he collected trash can lids, and he'd sell them to you for 15 cents a piece, but I haggled them down to 10.
Yeah, like
Just
some
like
random
random,
stuff.
just the most random ass shit. But he's also one of those comedians. He has a podcast called This Past Weekend, and he'll have a guest on, every so often. But I love his solo episodes. He'll just sit down in front of the camera and talk about like real shit, like how his life is going. He's one of those comedians that is a former drug addict, and like he talks about like his struggles with cocaine. That was his drug of choice, but talks about like his struggles with drug abuse and like his feelings and how he feels. And a lot of times he'll have like listeners call in and be like, this is what I'm going through in life, and then he'll give them like a little bit of advice type shit.
Yeah.
Tell him how he feels about the situation, what they could do. But I've caught myself a lot of times, be like listening to Theo Von at work and be like, damn, that advice fucking hit me in the corazon, cabron. And, you know, one single tear and I suck it back up because I'm a real G.
For all those Hispanics watching, Gabriel Iglesias, he's another great comedian.
Gabriel Iglesias is kind of in the same vein as Kevin Hart. He's one of those comedians that kind of transferred into a lot of acting roles. He had a TV show for a little while, didn't he? Or
I think so, yeah.
is it still going? Do you know? I don't really keep up too much with Gabriel Iglesias, honestly,
I mean,
these days.
I don't really keep up with him.
I
that
saw
much
he had a
anymore,
special
but-
maybe over the pandemic, or like slightly after the pandemic ended, but I don't know. Are we still in the pandemic? This shit is crazy. I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
Don't trust the Two Tone podcast for any of your
I don't
medical advice. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Half the time.
I'd say 75% of the time, but
Okay.
either
So-
way,
3/4 of the time.
you might be surprised to know what 75% translate into fractions. TT, that's 3/4.
Well, 3/4 equals 75 cents.
75%. Or three actual quarters is 75 cents. Thank you. Oh Lord, we're doing math and shit on the Two Tone podcast, dog. Okay,
We're dumb on here, so I mean,
all right.
yeah.
I'm done talking about fucking math. All
Yeah.
right, on to the next topic that we have for the Two Tone podcast. TT wanted to talk about starting a creative business, a business surrounded by
Creativity.
creativity as a whole, not even a like a production company, not even music production. I almost said production. Not even a music production, but all of it as a whole.
Yeah.
So
I
when
think like so yes, there are companies that are quote unquote creative companies, but my idea for a creative company is I want to have everything from drawing pictures to producing films and everything in between, all in
okay,
one building
so when you first brought this
or
up to
one
me,
area.
I was thinking like this could be very difficult to put into one building as you had thought previously, but I feel like it's one of those things that if
Well,
you
I wasn't really thinking like one building specifically. I was just more thinking like buying like a small airstrip or something and like building separate buildings for the different stuff.
I understand that, but like I feel like as a whole business, it would be very hard to like not have the like the uh different forms of media kind of like commingle into one like I feel like it would be difficult to have each project be separate from the other if that is your goal, or like if you're trying to have like the production and editing in one room and like everybody in the same company work on one project at a time, or are you trying to have like a collective of like creatives under like an umbrella company, like how
That's that's what I was thinking. Like, so we're gonna have like we're gonna have like this big company name, like uh, I want to say it's Lay's, the Lay's company. You know how they have like different shoot off companies.
yeah, like kind of how like Disney owns Star Wars and Pixar and
Yeah,
all that other shit,
but
like
I was
how
thinking like we could have separate companies that shoot off from the main company. So we'll have the main company, and then we'll have a shoot off for filmmaking, or a shoot off for yeah filmmaking. We'll have a shoot off for music making. We'll have a shoot off for art. We'll have a shoot off for blacksmithing. We'll have a shoot off for
okay,
drawing.
so like the company as a whole would be just like a collection of other creatives and stuff, and like have them a place to come and create their
Yeah,
art,
yeah.
whatever it is they're doing.
And like we'll have separate studios for the different uh creative areas.
Okay.
So we'll have like one studio for like filmmaking. So we'll shoot films in there, we'll produce in there, we'll edit in there, we'll do all the filmmaking stuff in that one building, and then we'll do another building for music making. We'll do another building for blacksmithing, another one for painting, another one for
Okay.
drawing, and so on and so forth. That's what I was thinking in my head.
I see what you're saying. Kind of have like each profession have like its own studio kind
Yeah.
of space. Yeah.
Because I'm tired. I just feel like it's monotonous these days with creativity. Because no, like people who are creative, they don't really have a space anymore. Like, yeah, there's big companies like Warner Brothers that do filmmaking and like all these other companies that do separate stuff, but I want it to be all one collective, so we're like a big community coming together instead of being separated between California and Alabama and
I
Canada
totally
and all that
understand what you're
stuff.
saying. I get what you mean. Like have kind of like a group of people that you can count on, like like not necessarily to count on for them to have like ideas for your whatever you're working on, but like have people there that like like intimately and can work with if
Yeah.
you need to, like respect that they're working on something else at at the same time, but like if you need somebody like in the set design industry, you could like go a couple doors down instead of having to.
Or like if I need a painter for a set or something, I could
Right,
be like
right.
walk over to the painters area and be like, "Hey, I need you. Can you guys paint this set for me, and then
Yeah,
come over and help?
I can definitely see how that would be very beneficial in the entertainment industry. Not only having the access to people, but
Yeah.
having them be so close.
Um. But yeah, I feel like just because the creative community that we have nowadays is so large and so vast that there's so many people that want to do stuff, but they don't have the opportunities. Like living here in Indiana, for example, like, yeah, I can start making films, I could start making music, I could paint, I could do all this stuff, but it's so hard to get your like product into a separate business that'll take like 50% of your cut because they're helping you sell it.
Right, I totally understand what you're saying. As I said, it would be very beneficial to have a set a set amount of people that you can count on to, you know, help you if you need to. Not only, you know, just to have them there,
Yeah.
like in the same building, even if they aren't in the building, you know, like you'll have somebody nearby that they might know somebody in in the field that you're working in. Like say you're making a scary movie, but I make pop music.
Yeah.
I might know somebody that works in the more like scary music type shit.
And like it's just so what I'm planning on doing if I ever get the money to do this said thing is to have the umbrella company
Mm-hmm.
get like not even I want to say 5% of all profits from whatever sold. Like they barely get like the whole big company umbrella company barely gets anything. But every offshoot gets like 95% of the profits.
Right, like you're just paying to keep the lights on type shit, keep the power going
Yeah.
and all that
But
wonderfulness.
like the movie making section when they release a film, they get 95% of the cut and then they send the 5% to the big company just to keep all the lights on and
Right,
everything working.
right. I feel like it could be one of those businesses that in theory it sounds like a good idea, but it sounds like a very big gamble. Like even if you're kind of like even if somebody makes an album, there's no guarantee that like it's gonna get hundreds and thousands of streams.
That's why I don't plan on like doing it like right now, but like
Right, obviously,
in
I'm
the
about to say.
future when I get like more money and more the the ability to do that stuff, I would love to do that.
It's one of those ideas that you had that I feel like it could be. It seems attainable, but it definitely it'll take some time to get into it all.
Yeah. Um, but I would like love to have that for like I don't want to say every state, but like every section of America. So like California or like the California area to like
Just kind of have one like in the biggest city, like at California, Chicago,
yeah, like one for
Houston.
like the different sections of America.
Right,
So like the Midwest will get one, the
the East
East
Coast, the
Coast,
West
the
Coast.
West Coast, and all that stuff.
Speaking of East and West Coast, one of the topics that I had for discussion was the difference in creative people on the East and the West Coast. So, as a musician, I see a lot of East Coast artists that are more like kind of more like aggressive, like boom bap, kind of like in your face lyrics and beats and stuff like that. And more West Coast kind of people are more like vibey, kind of surf music, kind of alternative kind of music. I find it very interesting to see how like even across America, as big as it is, there is a very like diverse sound in each city. Like in New York, you get like a lot of drill rap, you get a lot of like hardcore kind of like punk metal. vibes, and then more like as you go east into like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, you get more like kind of bluegrass, you get more country, and then you go to like the plains and you get more like it kind of like gets deeper into country. It kind of gets deeper into like the old rock and roll, and then you
Yeah.
get to the West Coast, and it's like a lot of the new like surfer vibes, kind of like real vibey kind of songs.
I kind of feel like that's a lot of where it is, because like California's right next to the water, so
Right.
they're more, dude, this wave is hitting me, bro.
More go
Whereas,
with the flow kind of vibes.
yeah, whereas like when you get more into like New Mexico, it's more like, yeehaw,
Mm-hmm.
country, and then you get to Indiana, and it's like blues type, like
Very bluegrass, kind of
bluegrass,
like
yeah.
almost like bluesy. Once you get to like Detroit and Michigan and Chicago, you get more like the traditional blues, and then you move into like
Well, I get kind of New York because New York is literally their nickname is literally concrete jungle. So all they're around is just fucking hard shit. So
it's very interesting to see the vibes that come out of New York. You see a lot of, as I said, you see a lot of drill rap. You see a lot of like kind of punk, hardcore, like
because you get like rock from the white kids in New York, and then you get rap from the black kids in New York.
I'd say
But
rock more comes from like the South, like Alabama and Georgia and Mississippi. You kind of get
yeah,
more where like the country kind of or fades into
it's
rock and blues and
because then you go into like Georgia, where there was like a wave of blues, and then
mhm.
you get closer up to New York, and it's like rock because the blues came from Georgia, and like I don't want to say rock or country came from like that area. I want to say, and then they
Mhm.
mingled and made rock.
It's very interesting
But
because I feel like the blues like originally is um like the blues is kind of like what everything shoots off from. Like you have like your doom 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 doom
I
doom
feel like the
doom.
blues were like the great 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 grandfather of music.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like
Like
the
it all
blue.
started with the blues.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. It's very interesting to see like how the United States, like only knowing from like my perspective of the United States, like how like the southern states more tend to be like blues and like old style country, and like the Midwest is like newer country and the bluegrass and the more like banjo kind of stuff, and then you go to New York and you get like the heavier kind of rap and metal, and then kind of like the rest of the country is more it's more blues, and in like the middle of the country you get like blues and old timey country, and then the West you get uh more like vibey kind of.
I was watching this YouTube video, and it was talking about how like music got started and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the blues apparently came from like when the African Americans were freed. Not okay. Do not quote me on this because I'm not 100% sure on this. But I heard that like all the freed slaves back when uh I want to say Lincoln. Yeah,
Yeah, the
Lincoln.
Emancipation
Yeah.
Proclamation.
After all that, uh like the blacks would go and they would like join the military or something, and the military would teach them like drum chords for like marching.
Mm-hmm.
And so like these people would play the marching tunes, and then they would just add slowly their culture to it. So they would like start putting in more rhythm to it, and then people were like, that sounds good. And then like it just became the blues
Oh,
from mixing the African American slash minorities to the drum line of the white people.
That's very interesting. I've never heard anything about that. That's very interesting. I'll have to look into that. That's super cool. I never even thought about that.
But again, don't quote me. Not 100% sure, but
It seems like it could happen, but I don't know. It seems very interesting. I'll have to look into it. All right. I want to say thank you one more time for watching the Two Tone Podcast. I appreciate all of y'all that tune in each week for us talking about nothing. But if you haven't subscribed, go ahead, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. I appreciate all y'all. TT does too, even if he doesn't say it. But want to tell you one more time. Unfuckswittable, new EP available on all streaming platforms. Right there. You can see it scrolling. I appreciate all y'all that listen, all y'all that follow me on any streaming platform that you use.
we got anything else on the.
We do, but we're already at an hour, so I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta go home. I gotta get that sleep. But we'll save it for the next Two Tone Podcast. We have a
Alright.
couple more things on the docket we didn't talk about today, but we are running a little behind, as y'all have heard. But I want to say thank you for watching the Two Tone Podcast. I appreciate y'all. Go ahead and subscribe, like, leave a comment. Go follow TT on YouTube at Glasshouse Films 8. If y'all are interested in acting / being part of the production or any part of the filmmaking crew,
Editing,
editing,
anything.
production, set design, set making, props, all that wonderful shit.
Costume making.
If you enjoy doing creative shit or anything, that has to do with movies or music or anything, leave a comment. Go ahead and hit TT up at Glasshouse Films 8 on Instagram. But that's all we have for you today at the Two Tone Podcast. I appreciate y'all.
Check out Glasshouse Films 8 on YouTube also.
Check it out. Check out The Night Shift. Check out Unfuckswittable on all streaming platforms.
Subscribe to the Glasshouse Films.
Subscribe. TT's trying to get his numbers up. Go ahead and subscribe to this podcast, TT's channel, my music. Shouts out to Kyle Baston, the OG. Appreciate you. Love you. Shouts out to Friends with Differences, Evan Hammonds. If it wasn't for you, I would never start this podcast. Appreciate you for helping me with all that wonderfulness.
If it wasn't for you, Kyle, I wouldn't be starting film. Thank you.
If it wasn't for Kyle,
Thank you
TT would
so
still
much.
be in his bed sleeping. But
Thank you for pushing me, Kyle.
that's enough with the thanks. This has been the Two Tone Podcast. Have a great day.